In the future, can you imagine any country not having their own capabilities? If you go back 100 years for the second industrial revolution, the core technology for that was electricity. At first, very few countries had that technology. The ones that had it first actually dominated to this day. Every country needs to have its own infrastructure. Every country must have some capability to produce their own AI, their own intelligence, and not just import it from others and outsource that capability.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MTS. Today, I'm joined by Lebaredian, who is NVIDIA's Vice President of Physical AI Simulation and one of the people who helped advance Firebird's new AI factory in Hrazdan, Armenia. The facility is now live with plans to scale from its initial deployment towards tens of thousands of GPUs in a much larger regional infrastructure network. Rev, welcome to MTS.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Excited for you to be here as well. Can we, maybe the way to start out is to just talk about what exactly is operating in Hrazdan today?
Today, we have the first phase of Firebird's AI factory implemented, which is a bit over 6,000 GPUs, I believe, 6,144 B200s operational.
Very cool. And one of the things that you guys mentioned is this is not just a data center full of GPUs. This is specifically, you guys describe as NVIDIA's DSX AI factory. So what exactly does DSX change in the design and operation power for what you might typically take, like with power, cooling, networking, all of that type of stuff?
Yeah, it might seem kind of like a funny turn of phrase that we call these things AI factories. It's like, why factory? Well, it's not just because it's cute. We call it a factory because factories have a particular property. Essentially, what factories do is they take raw input and they take energy as input and they output something that's a transformation of those inputs into a higher value product that you can sell for more. And factories, as a result, are this machine that you want to keep running all the time. You want it running 24/7 because downtime means it'll cost you money. You want them to be as efficient as possible and so on. So for AI factories, the inputs are raw information, raw data, and energy, just like other factories. And the output are tokens, which are a kind of encoding of intelligence, which is higher value than the inputs coming in. So the name of the game with AI factories is to make them as efficient as possible, make them as robust and reliable. For every watt of energy that you put in, you want to maximize the output that you get out of it. So what DSX allows us to do is we can put 40% more GPUs into the same space and with the same amount of power because we have designed the whole machine, the whole factory, from the chip level all the way out to the power grid in tandem. We've co-designed all of these things together instead of designing them independently. What NVIDIA is building today, we're known often as a chip company, but the reality is we're an infrastructure company. We are designing, the chip is an extremely important component of that, but it's not sufficient to build a factory that's efficient this way.
Definitely. And you guys specifically talked about building this out in a 3-phase plan. So I'm curious who you see as the first consumers who will actually, be using this initial capacity first.
The initial capacity, the one that was announced, there's multiple, but the one that was announced is Perplexity. The consumers of the capacity of this first phase are largely external to Armenia. They're American companies or Western companies worldwide who have great AI demands. But a portion of it is reserved for the use of Armenians locally. A few months back, the Armenian government, along with Firebird, made an announcement that they have reserved a certain amount of the capacity that the government is paying for at a discount from Firebird to provide to higher education institutions, to researchers, to startups, and the local ecosystem, giving Armenia a head start in this AI game.
Before we dive in, I want to shout out our sponsor, Lovable. You know, the app you've been meaning to build, the internal tool, side project, or product you'd otherwise lose a weekend to? With Lovable, you get software you can ship today. That includes an editable codebase you can inspect and change, plus two-way GitHub sync. Lovable also handles the backend and infrastructure, including managed Postgres, auth, storage, hosting, payments, and more, so you don't have to wire it all up yourself. And through Lovable's MCP server, you can create and deploy your project directly from the agents you already use. Turn ideas into software people love with Lovable. Lovable.dev. Now, onto the episode. I'm also just curious to get your perspective. Why exactly does a country like Armenia need its own AI compute at all? So why can't it just access its GPUs in the US or Europe? Why isn't that good enough?
Well, for today, maybe it's kind of good enough to access to get this important resource from others, but I think it's becoming pretty clear to everyone that AI is becoming essential. This is likely, in our view, it absolutely is, but most people are coming to terms with the fact that this is probably the most consequential technology transformation of all of human history.
Yeah.
So if you start from there, you go, well, in the future, can you imagine any country not having their own capabilities? If you go back 100 years for the second industrial revolution, the core technology for that was electricity and electricity generation. At first, very few countries had that capability, that had that technology. The ones that had it first actually dominated this technology and continue to do so to this day. But now it's unimaginable to have any country not have their own energy infrastructure. And so every country needs to have its own infrastructure. Every country must have some capability to produce their own AI, their own intelligence, and not just import it from others and outsource that capability.
Yeah. The future is every country that actually almost sovereign AI is the important aspect here. I would love if you could help define what exactly does sovereign AI mean? There's different definitions here around, is it just owning the GPUs? Or is it controlling the data, training your own models? Sometimes it might just be local talent. Want to get your perspective here.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty ambiguous term. It's kind of all of those things. Part of sovereignty is that you just have the capability, the infrastructure to do it yourself. You're not dependent on others for all of your intelligence capabilities. But you also want, as a sovereign nation, to have control over the intelligence that's generated with your own data, with your own culture, your own language. You should have agency in this and not just leave it up to others to decide how much or how they bring your culture and your language into the world of AI. That is something every country should control. And you also need to have enough of this capacity for your companies, your tech companies, and your enterprises in general to be able to build their own applications, their own intelligence on top of these foundational layers. You know, Jensen aptly describes AI as in layers. We call it the 5-layer cake. The bottom layer of AI is energy. Everything starts from that. The maximum amount of AI you can have is dependent on how much energy you have. Next layer above that is chips. This is the machine that converts the energy into tokens, into intelligence. Then you have infrastructure above that, which takes these chips and scales it out and makes it so that we can really take it out to scale. And then on top of that, we have the models. This is normally what we think of as AI. These are the GPTs and Claudes and Groks of the world. But the layer above that is arguably the most important, which is the applications. This is where we take all of the AI, all this work we do below that, and we turn it into value that makes a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And those applications, many of those applications are common across geographies, common across cultures, common across countries, but many are not. Many are local. There are different problems and different values in different places. And so every country needs the ability to build their own AI applications. And to do that, they should have sovereignty over the layers of the stack below.
Completely. Well, Rev, I really wanted to thank you for coming on MTS today. But one last question I had for you, because this is really interesting to me about what this actually means for the future of Armenia's, trajectory. Where is this actually going? So I wanted to get your perspective there. How can compute actually change the trajectory for Armenia?
It's gonna have a lot of different great implications for Armenia. First and foremost, just the direct implications of this. If you look at all three phases, we're going from a $500 million for phase one, an additional $4 billion for phase two, and in total by phase three, it'll be about $10 billion of investment for a country that has approximately $30 billion in GDP annually. That's a huge, huge investment, and is going to make a direct difference in the economy. Just the tax revenue coming from Firebird and the production of these tokens in Armenia will be transformative to the country. The next thing it's going to make a big difference with is AI infrastructure. The build out of this over the next few years is measured in the trillions of dollars globally. This is a whole new industry. It's the biggest opportunity of all time for everyone. And Armenia gets to have a first stab at learning how to build these and build the services and infrastructure around that. Our local engineers and talent inside Armenia will get to experiment and be part of that ecosystem before other countries do. And they can go export their learnings there as well. Third, our higher education institutions, the researchers and startups that emerge from this research will have an advantage. They'll have capacity available to them locally before many others do, especially in the current environment where these GPUs are so scarce. There's so much demand for them. Everybody is scrambling for them. There's a certain amount reserved there. And fourth, those same GPUs, because they're scarce, will attract external foreign talent that we can bring to Armenia to come do research and build startups and companies there to help build up the local talent pool as well. So all of these things are in effect immediately, and I think we're going to see the implications of that in the coming months.
Definitely. Rev, really wanted to thank you for joining us today on MTS and sharing about all of the exciting news. So thank you so much for joining. It was a great conversation.
Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure.
Such a pleasure. And we'll be back with MTS.
A huge thanks to MTS sponsors.
11 Labs, AI that communicates at human level across every channel and modality. 11labs.io/MTS. Scale your startup on Neon. Millions of developers and startups have already chosen Neon for their backend. Start on the free plan or get up to $100,000 in credits for your startup at neon.com/MTS. Special thanks to our sponsor Kong, the AI connectivity platform. Connect APIs, LLMs, agents, and systems with serious security and governance. KongHQ.com.
Blitzy, autonomous software development for enterprise codebases. Ship 5x faster. Blitzy.com. AdQuick, make your brand a billboard. Out-of-home advertising as easy to scale as digital. AdQuick.com. Arena, measuring AI performance in the real world. Arena.ai.
Support for the show comes from VCX, the public ticker for private tech. The US stock market started history's greatest wave of wealth creation. From factory workers in Detroit to farmers in Omaha, anyone could own a piece of the great American companies. But today, our most innovative companies are staying private longer, which means everyday Americans are missing out. Until now. Introducing VCX, a public ticker for private tech. Visit getvcx.com for more info. That's getvcx.com. Carefully consider the investment material before investing, including objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. This and other information can be found in the Innovations Fund prospectus at getvcx.com. This is a paid sponsorship.